Let's stay on the topic of energy now. Load shedding is said by the CSIR to cost South Africa at least 20 billion rand a month at stage 1 load shedding, and stage 3 load shedding is said to cost South Africa 80 billion rand a month. How then does a country in recession and facing an at least 8% contraction deal with energy challenges, and how is that going to impact our economy going forward? I'm joined for more on this by Professor Mark Swilling. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. How complex is the energy issue in South Africa, and what is the best case scenario for resolving those energy challenges?
I'm not sure you could get a more complex system, which is why it has been so challenging for anybody to come up with a silver bullet. There is no silver bullet. There is no single solution. Everybody has to collaborate. The biggest challenge is obviously load shedding, but there is a lot we can do in the short term. We could lift the restrictions on self-generation. We could allow the wind farms and the solar farms to generate more than they do, and we could accelerate the construction of renewables. There's a complex bureaucratic process that really slows down the delivery of renewables, and they can be delivered very quickly, much faster than coal or nuclear.
Mm. You've written an article saying that the only possible scenario at this point are renewables, such as wind and solar. How do we get from that being an idea and a good idea to actually implementing it quickly?
Well, the reason it's the only possible solution is that if we don't have new generation capacity on the grid by 2025, we face permanent load shedding by 2025. And you can't build a coal-fired power station in 5 years, nor can you build a nuclear power station. So only renewables can be built in 2, maximum 3 years. So that's why it's the only solution. To make it happen, we basically have to open the taps. We have to make sure that all the people who control the regulatory instruments have a sense of urgency and say, yes, let's make this happen. Eskom wants to make it happen. The CEO has said they're prepared to enable renewables in whatever form, whether it's by themselves, generated by Eskom or by the private sector. Everybody has to come together to say, this can be done. We know how to do it. Financial institutions are keen to back it. It's possible.
Mm-hmm. So Michael Schellenberg in Forbes magazine has written that, and I'm quoting directly here, sunlight and wind are inherently unreliable and energy dilute. As such, adding solar panels and wind turbines to the grid in large quantities increases the cost of generating electricity, locks in fossil fuels, and increases the environmental footprint of energy production. How valid is this, and can South Africa afford renewables?
I am not sure of the sources of information of that statement, but all the sources of information that I know would basically contradict it. So if you compare, if you think coal is totally reliable, then look out the window, you'll see load shedding. We've had load shedding since 2008, and we have a coal system. So to say that that's the stable one and renewables are not, just doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. It's true. You don't have sunlight all the time, wind all the time, but the wind tends to come when you don't have sun. But that's why you also need storage, and the cost of storage has come down 85% in the last 5 years, and you probably also will need gas backup. So the investment in renewables globally is around 300 billion, just over 300 billion, which is double total investment in fossil fuels and nuclear combined. So if that statement was true, that wouldn't be happening. You wouldn't see renewables spreading across the globe at a much faster rate than even the most optimistic models predicted 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that statement just simply can't be right. There are ways in which you can build these systems, create smart grids, shift loads around in such a way that you can decarbonize an energy system. It's true, you need more cement, you need more copper, you need more steel when you do convert to renewables than if you stayed on fossil fuels, and that has an environmental impact. But all of that is powered, hopefully, by a renewables grid. So there's no such thing as clean energy. You always will be digging stuff up out of the ground. and causing some pollution. But renewables is a much better option.
All right. Now, earlier you spoke about the easiest way of avoiding plunging South Africa into that energy-driven economic crisis is ensuring that the key decision makers make the right decisions, and you've given a timeline as the next 3 months. Do you know what kind of discussions are happening around this, and if there's any lobbying to see that that will actually happen?
Yeah, I mean, the key political decision makers, the President, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Public Enterprises, the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, all of those key political principles are pretty seized with this, with the energy crisis and what to do about it. The President refers to it quite often. And Minister Pravin Gordhan, who's basically in charge of Eskom, as the executive authority in charge of Eskom, has made all the right noises. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy is still holding back, although they have recently published the Section 34 determination, which says build now 6.8 gigawatts of renewables plus some 3,000 gigawatts of coal in total, of gas, and 1,500 of coal. All of that is 11 point something gigawatts of energy. Our total system is just below 50. So 11 is a big chunk. So I think what we are seeing is the political signals are moving, are saying the right things. We don't quite yet have a really fully united political team that says, we're all in this together, let's back Eskom and let's unlock the investments that are needed to take renewables to scale quickly before we have load shedding. Permanent load shedding in 2025.
Professor Mark Swilling, thanks so much for your time on SABC News this afternoon, discussing renewable energy and the importance of that in the energy mix in South Africa. We know that South Africa has been experiencing challenges in terms of load shedding and the impact that that has on an already battered economy in South Africa. We know we're in recession. We know the coronavirus pandemic has decimated our growth prospects, has decimated jobs in the last quarter to over 2 million jobs lost in South Africa. And we're going to continue taking a look at energy